Okay, it's Wednesday, and today we're having Frank Jordan back again for another show with his group. They're doing today is earth meditations and healings and calming earthquakes, volcanoes, and the stress of the people on the planet and all that kind of stuff. You can join in and help us if you want. Okay, Frank, you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everyone.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, this is an interesting morning. We've been having a pre-show discussion with the Earth Mind Healers group. And actually, it's the Earth Mind Healers now is what we call ourselves. And over the Universal Mind Radio. And we were discussing the solar eclipse last night and the feeling, the effect that it had on some of us, and looking at the various ranges of resonances that were coming through at this time. And so it's a whole new paradigm we're experiencing here, a developing, evolving, emerging paradigm of energetics. And the thing I felt particularly strongly was the resonance with the moon and intermingling that with the photon belt, the energies from the photon belt. And when I did that, my whole chest got very hot. It's just like creating a new reality for me. And so I played with that for a while, and then I did get up and look at the preamble as the moon crossed. The Earth crossed the face of the moon too. And it was interesting. It was different because of the red glow that it was cast on it. And I don't know how that affects us astrologically. Do you have anything on that, Mike?
Give me a minute here, Frank. I'm just looking.
Okay, while you're looking, I see we're also in void of course today and all day. And so that would give us a different feeling. Normally when we have void of course, we're very floaty and can't get focused. But we also have at least 8 astrological conjunctions and squares and trines and all sorts of things that are affecting us. You might look at that also, Mike. And
yeah. Why don't I give you a quick shot here before my voice goes completely? Well, we do have Venus entering the sign of Sagittarius this morning, so it's in the 1st degree. Mercury is approaching conjunction with Saturn. It's almost conjunct Saturn. We have Sun is an aspect to Mars, which is providing energy, and Mars is in aspect to Saturn. We have Venus square Neptune. We have Uranus in square aspect to Pluto. And so you do have kind of oppositional energy creating squares there. Uranus, Pluto, Venus, Neptune, 2 very large planets. Both of those are retrograde today as well. Neptune and Uranus, slow moving planets. So we would expect a lot of energy and conflicting influences and involving delusion, illusion, and deception aspects of those 2 big planets. From a more conventional kind of financial market or day-to-day living aspect, we often will look at eclipses as a potential catalyst for change. So October has a seasonal reputation for being very difficult and volatile in financial markets, and so I'm kind of wondering if this eclipse doesn't have the effect through the rest of October to somewhat have dimmed the lights or turned off the energy flow to stocks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got before the voice completely goes.
Well,
did you see my note about, if you saw my note about Doug in the chat window too, maybe we could get to that a little later.
Okay. What it tells me is there's just tremendous potential happening at this moment because we are in the process of the global reset in the financial market. And China is very deeply involved in pushing the United States to get into sync with the rest of the world, so we're all on the same stage, walking to the beat of progress rather than the discordance of being out of step with everything. And so this astrological setup is just perfect for this time because it throws up every possible potential opportunity for us, for the world and the group mind consciousness to relate to and become the co-creators of a positive reality in dominion, even as the challenge of the opposition forces can express through the negative influences. So it's up to us. It always is and always was to accept and acknowledge who we are and what our potential is, and to look ahead. We have to create ahead of us what it is we want to manifest. Otherwise, we're driven by what comes behind us in the 0 point. And in the 0 point of Earth mind, which is the living consciousness of Earth, which is simply a reflection of the living consciousness of humans, Earth mind it responds directly in step with what we think and feel and do. In the past months, where there's been greater intensity of earthquakes and typhoons and sudden unexpected weather phenomena, that's a direct result of the stress of human consciousness of not getting organized into a common intent and having a focus on what we want to create. But we're in a tremendous shift at this moment, a shift of opportunity that allows us to look ahead and co-create and become the manifestors of the new paradigm, the new world reality that we're working toward. And that's what the fourth dimension is all about, is deciding who we are, what we want to experience, and do we want to move beyond what we've been, or do we want to still stay hung up in our old patterns and forms and driven by our reality instead of being the creator of it? So with that in mind, are there any comments from anyone at this time about what's happening? If not, we will state our intents for the day. One intent would be to stabilize and complete the financial reorganization that is happening. Another is to look at the chaos of war that's being driven over in the Arab countries, and looking at that, the realization that even though the thing is supposedly based as a jihad for in the conscience of the Mohammedans, that it's really not. It's the terrorists. It's group who are responding and being driven and furnished, supplied by the opposition force. The more chaos they can create around the world, and the threat of chaos or terrorism acts, it keeps the world in defensive, pulled together and huddled down, respective to their choices and their thoughts. So we can't be creative where we become too protective and self-oriented rather than reaching out as a group mind to create what's in dominion, what is right and best for all of us. So with that intent, it looks like the weather patterns are all fairly stable at this time. We did have success in diverting that typhoon that was slated to hit Japan. Our intent was to turn it up the coast, and that's exactly what happened. So all that Japan was hit with was some good rain, which they can always use, and some wind. So let's take our awareness now into Earth Mind and accumulate energy in the golden grid so that we can store a vast force of energy that we can direct with our minds in the earth mind system with the devic forces of consciousness, so that as our intent is expressed out around the world, no matter what language is responding to our intent through our DNA, it is all interpreted into the betterment of mankind and the raising of the consciousness, the shift of the states of consciousness. So take your awareness up into your forehead. Begin to move right straight back. And the first thing you step into is, it feels like kind of an open field, is the soul center. And this open sensation you feel is the unified high soul, or mid soul actually, of our human indwellers that came in this age to experience and to help to transcend the 23,000 years of domination that we've been in. And that's what the photon belt is all about, is to give us inspiration and power and energy to raise our frequencies into the fourth dimension out of the third. And the fourth dimension simply being a time-space portal into the fifth dimension. But in the fourth is where we have to pool our energy and our consciousness and decide what we want to do, how to become co-creators, how to use our energy. And this comes to us intuitively and through guidance from other dimensional beings and the galactic center. So we're being prompted quite steadily in our growth of consciousness. So in that soul center, just unify outward now with everyone, all the group mind consciousness of all humans. Now I want to add to this the photon energy, which is a higher frequency, a stimulating potential. So bring that in the forehead now, just by focusing your attention on the words photon belt. Photon belt. And you feel it open up when the resonance come down through your entire brain, and let that resonate on down through your bodies. So that everything we do today will have the added energy and potential of higher consciousness. This is also what's been disturbing your sleep, because your physical body is trying to adjust to the higher frequency energies coming in. And normally when our bodies relax and go into a state of somnolence with the photon excitation, it's hard to get to sleep. But as soon as our systems rise in frequency enough, we won't even be necessarily able to feel the photon flow unless we ask for it. But it will be adjusted to it, and our whole systems will be operating on a higher level. Now pull your awareness and the photon frequencies back to the psychic center in the middle of the head, in the area of the pineal. And here's where we reach out directly with our intent, and we use the galactic flow, higher consciousness to know how to do this. We reach out directly into the consciousness of all living humans with our intent, and we help to stimulate them to open up and feel the photon flow simply by expressing your intent out through the psychic center. And telepathy, mental telepathy, occurs not as a linear formation of words and sounds and vowels, which we're used to communicating with through the frontal lobes of our brain. Telepathic communication is like a burst of intent, of thought. So we send out through the telepathic center a burst. We accumulate the intent and send it out as a burst of energy, either directly to one person we're trying to communicate with or into the group mind consciousness. So we're communicating to everyone the intent to allow the stimulation of the photon belt to rise consciousness, and to prompt everyone to make right choice, and to prompt everyone to continue making right choice to clear themselves of negative patterns and programs, to release the third dimension so we can move through the fourth and into the fifth. Because in the fifth dimension, it'll all be telepathic communication. So we need to practice doing this. More importantly, we need to understand how it works. And as you do this, you feel a commonality of all humans. We're all one. We're all one, experiencing all things possible for the God force. Now drop your awareness on back another step, and here you feel yourself expand, and we're leaving the conscious mental level now and stepping back into the subtle energy field of the subconscious mind. And the subtle energy field supports everything that's up in front of it. It's the base consciousness. That's the unified field of the God force consciousness. And the unified field is the orbs of the levels of consciousness that we interact and manifest through. Now extend your awareness down the spine to the heart center. And the indwelling spirit, that tiny bit of the God force consciousness that in the 0 point of our heart manifests and holds the form of everything around us and everything we experience. And it manifests through the polarities of oversoul and undersoul, the male principle and the female principle. And these are the orbs of consciousness that each have 12 chakras. So we actually have 36 chakras. And the chakras in the oversoul orb and the undersoul orb, through resonance and intent focused by our central orb of conscious reality, that's what manifests the polarities, the change in polarities in the 0 point of the heart that change the standing waves of every past moment of now, because the past moments of now just hold the form of everything has been created by thought or intent by any living organism having DNA. And that resonance from the past thoughts resonate to the 0 point where it all collapses, and unless our intent acts upon it, our desire and will, it resonates forward to recreate in the next standing wave of the future, and right on out into the future, exactly the same form. But this is where, in cooperation with the God Force Spirit Center in the 0 point, with desire and will, we can utilize the positive and negative polarity that manifests and holds the form of standing waves. This is where we become co-creators with our reality, and where we can change and alter physical, mental, emotional, and also awareness of spiritual consciousness. To feel the power of that balance of the 3 orbs, each holding 36 chakras, oversoul, midsoul, and undersoul. The oversoul is is the realm of the thinkers and the dreamers that create all these lower realms and hold them in focus. It's also the male polarity. And the undersoul, the oversoul is what creates everything of the future. And the undersoul, the female polarity, the physical aspects and qualities of earth and all elements and elementals, is what holds the past. This is where the akashic records are held in the silicon dioxide of the crust of the earth that store and record every thought, every intent, every action or emotion of all living things. And it becomes the instinctive consciousness that resonates into the middle point, holding the form of our base and core realities. Now we've learned now how, with clarity and understanding, how we can unify the field of oversoul, midsoul, and undersoul, unify those into one conscious operating field so that our thoughts and our intents are automatically, instantaneously resonating through the 0 point to manifest our future. And this is how you do it. Just put your point of attention again in the 0 point of the heart, in the central orb, and reach up to oversoul and pull oversoul, that orb, down. We're actually taking the three-dimensional reality of the three orbs down into the one-dimensional reality of the unified field. And when you feel that unified, by pulling the intent down into the mental realm, then we go to the lower realm and lift the undersoul, that orb of energy, that field of consciousness, up to surround the 0 point of our hearts, and holding that in this moment of now, we become the co-creators. So in that moment of now, for instant manifestation, we're looking at the world financial structure and sending the intent. The intent, it's being formed through the power of our focus and consciousness in this unified field, that peace and harmony exist in the world financial structure, that domination no longer has that tool to dominate and force subservience of the people in the world. We're seeing a field, manifesting a field of dominion. Dominion where all things are equal, all humanity is equal and supportive of each other, filled with unconditional love. Unconditional love is the power generator that holds the form and reality of all things. And as we visualize the perfection of the financial structure of the world, the global currency reset, the founding of the finance of the world through the Iraqi dinar and other currencies, the assets of the world, we resonate that into the future standing waves that are held in form by the God Center. And to feel a perfection coming, a knowing, a deep inner knowing that as it is, so it is. And we're doing this for every human in the world through our soul center. And we see the financial structure remanifested in dominion. Dominion is simply, as it says in the first pages of the Bible, and man shall have dominion over all the things of earth. And dominion means the caretakers of, not the abusers or the dominators of. Now feel a point of joy come in your heart. Resonate that point of joy around the world, because this is the body signal to the world, prompting every soul to unify their field with the intent of dominion in the financial world. The financial world is a false structure that is created to be in domination of humans. But we're remanifesting it now in dominion, so it can be the supporter and nurturer and allow trade and commerce between the countries and peoples of the world. And now it's shift our point of attention as we continue that resonance, put that in form and allow it to continue. As we shift our point of attention to the warring fractions of the world, the warring factors who are driven by the domination force in the heart of every warrior, everyone who is working for a wage to be a warrior. We send unconditional love and the recognition that we're all one, and as you do unto others, it so happens to yourself. So we send the unconditional love through all the warriors, all those who would seek to be the operating function of domination. We send unconditional love through their hearts to where they simply refuse to be warriors. Recognizing that in peace is where prosperity rises. In dominion, without peace, prosperity cannot exist. We're particularly focused on the Middle East and those who would seek power through domination, through ISIS, and the misapplied Muslim precepts. We help them to come back to their true Islamic faith and form, in which are not to be warriors, but to be in dominion. That's the true concept of all religions. It's what they espouse, is to be and have peace and prosperity and dominion around the world. But every religion is driven not by the peaceful counterparts, but the domination controllers that have taken those religions over. So we bring peace, harmony, and balance into the world religions and the realization through higher consciousness prompted and powered by the photon belt that domination is not the way to prosperity and abundance. And so it is. Now we'd leave the field unified. Energetically we have to keep reinforcing it because when it's in its separated state, that's what allows separatism and the chaos of the world. That's what the last 23,000 years has been about, is learning to unify the field. Now bring your awareness back down into earth mind, and we'll go into the earthquake grid in Southern California, our point of beginning, where we will reinforce the field of consciousness that we've created around the earth in our golden grid as a protective shield and as a storehouse of energy to empower our intent and our activities on the earth. We go into the earthquake grid in Southern California and feel the building stress and lift that stress up your spines, out through your crown chakra, out through oversoul, into the ionosphere, and distribute that energy around the world in the golden grid. And again, this is done with will and intent. It doesn't have to be done with a rational reasoning mind. We simply do it with the intent of our subconscious mind, working in the subtle energy fields that holds the form of all reality. Now move your awareness north along the San Andreas fault line to San Diego. Lifting, releasing, and on up to San Francisco. And on up to the Oregon line. Now I'm feeling interesting pressure in my third eye. When I tune into that, that's the awareness of the photon belt and the awareness that we can use the photon belt energy to raise the frequencies of earth mind and so we add that, we bring that in through our third eye back down into our systems and through that into earth mind to raise the frequency of earth and all the consciousness patterns that have been programmed in earth mind as the akashic records to help raise the akashic records up out of domination and into dominion. So you let that cycle continue as we continue our circle around the ring of fire. Go now to the Sierra Nevada mountains in eastern California, extending all the way down to the border of the United States with Mexico. Lift those energies upward. This is subduction energy. Now move eastward to the Rocky Mountain chain, all the way through Utah, up into Wyoming, the Yellowstone area. Use our intent and the photon flow to lift and raise those frequencies into our golden grid. Yeah, by intensifying the frequency of the magma with the higher frequency of the photon belt, we can actually transmute what would potentially be a third-dimensional explosion of magma. We lift that frequency into an energetic state by raising its frequency, lifting it up into the golden grid. Perfect. And we feel the whole Yellowstone cauldron area relax. Now take our awareness to the Pacific Northwest. Activity through the Cascade Mountains and through the Puget Sound area. This is subduction zone energy between the plates. Lift that upward. Now we go northward to Alaska and the south central Alaska region, the subduction of the Gulf plate into Alaska, constant minor earthquakes there. Take our awareness down the Aleutian chain. And I'm seeing something interesting as we're doing this today. It had been anticipated that there'd be more plate activity because of the eclipse of the moon. And what I'm seeing is not more activity, but an intensification, more mid-range activity, although fewer. They come down from Russia to the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, southward to Japan, and where it becomes the Japan Trench. A very deep subduction zone. Lift those energies upward. Particularly around Miyako, Japan, in the region where the reactors are. We use those energies we lift in a swirling cyclone of energy to lift the radiation away from Japan and to transmute it so it is not detrimental to any living form. You follow the Japan Trench all the way down to the Marianas Trench, which again is deep oceanic activity. and come across to Taiwan, down to the Philippines, where again there's more mid-range 5-point levels of activity. Releasing these energies to the ancient volcanoes and the active ones. On south in Indonesia and the Java Crescent, bordering the Java Trench. Lift those energies upward. I come eastward to New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, the Solomon Trench, all the way around through to Fiji, where we hit the Tonga Trench. There's quite a bit of oceanic activity there, up to the 5.1 scale. Those have the potential for tsunamis. So we want to see those subduction trenches lubricated and slipping steadily without the jerking motion that creates tsunamis. Carry awareness down to New Zealand, where there is a 5.2 at Murapara, New Zealand. And this is new activity, probably triggered, no doubt triggered by the eclipse. Now we move eastward, across the Pacific to South America. The Andes Mountains, paralleling the Peru-Chile Trench, the subduction zone there. We lubricate those also and release the energy through the ancient volcanoes, all the way northward to Colombia in Central America, and in this on up to the San Andreas Fault that borders Mexico. It's the same fault line all the way through. There's a 6.2 southwest of El Dorado, Mexico. In the trench, we want to release that. That's a slip. Now we move eastward to Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. Release that cluster of small earthquakes. Now we move to the Mid-Atlantic Ridge between North America and Africa. There is indication of subduction activity there in 5.1. These are new, probably caused by the eclipse. We follow that Reykjanesmere Ridge to Iceland. And the ongoing activity, releasing the energy from the central Iceland through that primary volcano. Lift that energy upward and go beneath the volcano itself and use the photon energy to raise the frequency again So it's expressed as energy release and not as ash. Good, that feels good. Now we drop down to the Mediterranean, to the ongoing activity in the southern islands of Greece. 4.9 is there. Then eastward to Azerbaijan, north part of Iran, and to the Persian Gulf, where there's 4.1 at Bandar, Iran, and eastward to Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan. Then eastward to the plateau of Tibet, 5.4, and to Linga, Xi, China. And southeast to Chongqing, 4.5, and 4.2 at Huaiyan, China. And we come back across the Pacific to our point of beginning, go into the central United States, where there's an increase through that belt, a belt that ranges from Trinidad, Colorado, eastward through Oklahoma, eastward through Cave City, Arkansas, and into the New Madrid Fault in Tennessee, and on into the Appalachian Mountains, Sweetwater, Tennessee, and even some down around Dallas, and Center, Texas. We bring our awareness back to our point of beginning. And lift our awareness back up again out of Earth mind into the group mind consciousness of all humans. And we reach out to the domination forces that are so active in our pharmaceutical industry, and to those who are actively working in creating new viruses. There is that plane of consciousness where they want to release epidemics around the world to reduce the population. And we're looking principally at Africa and the Ebola outbreak. Take our awareness to the Ebola region in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, and extend our awareness into the level of the bacteria itself. It's a virus. With the realization this virus was created, as many of our plague viruses are now, and planted with the explicit intent of reducing population. Allow the frequency of the virus, the morphogenic field created by the consciousness of the virus, tune into that now and Feel your hands get hot as we pick up the frequencies. Feel the resonance in your chest. Now we lift the frequency of that virus. And Rachel, if you could give us your tone to lift the frequencies of viruses.
Okay.
Perfect. And in doing so, we transmute it into a harmless virus. And so it is. Are there any suggestions from anyone else this morning?
Frank?
Yes.
Our friend Doug is having a surgical procedure right about now this morning. Is a fairly intensive sinus surgery up in Spokane, and I will be having an outpatient procedure tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m.
All right. We shift into our group mind healing consciousness now. We go to Doug in Sacramento, directed through Spokane. All right. Oh, all right. Doug. All right. Got him now. Very good. We tune into Doug's situation and feel our hands instinctively, intuitively through the galactic flow, attuning to his need as we direct not only energy through our unified field of the healers, but also from the golden grid, energy and power and frequency to neutralize Doug's condition.
He's having sinus surgery.
Sinus surgery, all right.
He's having a severe infection removed from his sinuses.
Very good. So we empower the surgeons to do their very best, and we stimulate his own system, the antibodies necessary to continue the healing and to clear the residue. And so it is. Now shift our awareness to Mike and the procedure he'll have tomorrow.
A stent repositioning.
So we focus on an easy correction of the stent condition, and also we focus energy on Mike's condition in general. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see him healing, accelerating, all sign of the condition disappearing. Through the power of the Christ within us, we see Mike in the perfect and normal condition as he works with the doctors through the radiation. We stimulate the pure and natural condition, clearing and releasing the abnormal conditions. And we project this into the future. Even as we program these frequencies of healing, nurturing, unconditional love into his crystals. And Mike is wrapped in a field of unconditional love. It's continuing to heal. And he is brought back into perfection. And so it is. Okay, we still have a minute. Anyone else? I want to thank everyone who participated in today's work. We came through with some new directions today from the Galactic Center on how to do things and on what's needed. We thank the Galactic Center, higher flows of consciousness, our guides, and all the other dimensional beings who assist us in our process of moving into dominion. And thank everyone who participated. We send a wave of peace and harmony and unconditional love around the world. Whoa, and so it is. Let it keep on building. Good job, guys. We'll see you all on Saturday. Same time, same place. Wolf Spirit Radio, universalmindradio.com at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so it is.
Okay, thank you, Frank. That was a wonderful show. We're signing off here with our show for today. And as Frank said, we'll be back Saturday with another show. Thank you, and take care, everybody.